all profit is value extraction. And that means that all profit is theft from you.
Corporate America is on welfare, and we've got to get them off welfare.
The last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary, and you're gonna have to keep on saying that.
Hey y'all, it's Carson Comrades. This is Bryant. Got Zach and Brandon here. How's it going, y'all?
Rough.
Yeah. Brandon and me are both a little hungover, so this might be a little bit of a low energy podcast.
I feel fucking great.
Okay, so you're gonna carry the whole thing then, Zach.
Oh shit! All right.
Yeah, Connor couldn't make it. I think he said he was like picking up new tires or something, and it's I don't know some appointment he can't miss.
The car podcast is missing a guy because he's doing car stuff.
Yeah. But I guess we didn't really plan out an agenda for this one. We got a couple of the different things we can talk about. But yeah, I know Connor wanted to talk about encounters with cops, but we don't have any between the three of us, we don't really have any good stories. So we'll
off camera, we realized that we actually do have good stories. It's just that like everyone's fucking interactions with the cops is so fucked up and traumatic that like, unless you get beaten half to death or murdered, you're like, no, my experience with the police has been pretty average. Sometimes they hit you. Sometimes they shoot rubber bullets at you. Like, just normal shit. Normal cop shit.
Yeah, none of us have been killed yet. So, but I think we'll save that till when Connor is back. But yeah, I don't know. That's something to look forward to for the listeners, I guess. So I guess we'll do some Project Car updates a little bit. We have some news about the strike wave going on.
No good news though.
Yeah, and then I think we might talk about some ideas that we have for what would we do with our cars if money was no object, or kind of dream builds in the future. So we're kind of just winging it on this one. So you got that to look forward to, dear listener.
Yeah.
So I guess we can do Project Car updates first. And I think, Brandon, it's your turn this time around. If you got something to talk about.
All right. Well, that'll be pretty easy. I got almost nothing done today. I think I spent 2 hours in the shop. And that was the process of me, like, I got all the I can't remember if I had done all of the new springs and retainers and everything on the heads the last time we spoke, but I've got all of the heads back together, and
Cool.
I got them bolted onto the block. And as I was getting ready to start like putting everything else together, I realized that I had forgotten to clean out the bore of the block, and by not in any technical sense, but in the sense that like I had like gotten junk inside of it, and it's like, it's cool. I'll just like blow it out and vacuum it out really well before I put everything together, and didn't. So I had to take the heads back off, which they were bolted down, but they weren't torqued down to like the specs. So it wasn't that big of a deal, but
Yeah.
it was still really fucking annoying that I like got that far and then had to undo it just because. And this is big block V8 heads, dude. These things weigh like 100 pounds or something stupid.
Damn.
Probably not even actually 100 pounds, but they're still like iron big block heads.
Yeah.
And yes,
I had the Oldsmobile, or
yeah, this is for my 455. So after I got and like I found a stray dog this week, and I like fell in love with it and like was taking care of it, and then I found the owner and had to give him back. But like it impacted my ability to accomplish things because I was trying to make this terrified dog like comfortable around my house and shit.
Yeah.
This is the one that bit you, right? Same dog?
Yeah.
Or is there another stray dog? Okay.
No, he mellowed out a lot and was being like a super, like was the best dog. I will happily like bomb the group chat with pictures of this dog looking absolutely stoked riding around in my van.
Yes, please.
He was such a good van dog. But once I realized that I was going to be going back to work this week, I kind of panicked because I work 12s, and so I absolutely can't take care of a dog. So we made flyers and put them up around the neighborhood, which I intended to do anyway. 10 minutes after we put the flyers up, the guy called because he was out looking for his dog.
Oh, okay.
Well, he was walking his other dog and like going around the area hoping he like would find something, and
right.
yeah, super good dude. Seemed like he took good care of the dog. So
Yeah,
whatever.
That's something to be proud of. Reunited, and that's always a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it felt as good as it felt bad.
Yeah, a little bittersweet.
Yeah, but I mean, like I'm working 12s this week because I'm not fucking going on strike because our union basically caved and got us a shit contract so that we could keep working. That's being slightly dramatic. I don't know the full details of the contract yet, but it's not looking good, and people who know more about it than I do are pretty pissed off.
Yeah, I mean, by the time this episode comes out, probably things have changed with all the union stuff that we're going to talk about. But I don't know. It is Striketober, I guess, as they call it.
Yeah, I'm cool with making this an annual event.
Yeah. Was that the end of your update there, Brandon?
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm doing that thing where I'm like absolutely too hungover to like maintain a train of thought. So yeah, all of the work that I got done on my motor this week, I also got undone.
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't go backwards on that, I guess.
No, by definition, that is literally what I did.
Yeah. And did the dog, did it get along okay with your cats, or did you have to keep them separate?
The dog like barely acknowledged that there were cats. My cats were a little standoffish around it, but like they would like hop up onto the couch next to it and then scare themselves after they realized they had jumped up on a couch next to a dog. And the dog would just be looking around like, what just happened?
Yeah.
Come on, guys. My cats are fighting like they always do. I think we just record at the exact time of day where they're like, fuck yeah, it's time to party.
Well, I haven't made too much progress on my car. I think I got every single bolt that holds the transmission off the car, and I'm pretty sure I put them all in a bag that's labeled, and I'm pretty sure I can find where they go on the new one, but we'll see about that. And I got the front and rear motor mount disconnected. There's 4 motor mounts on this thing. And then I got the driver's side one loosened. So my plan is to leave the passenger side one on there and just have that as a pivot to kind of, pivot the motor down at an angle to get the transmission off. And I had to go do something last night. And so I'm like, maybe I shouldn't take this one off and just leave it hanging from the cherry picker. Cause probably good to have a little bit of, I thought that's a good stopping point, but I don't know. Maybe I'll do that tonight, and I'll see if I can take the transmission off if I have time. But I got other shit to do. I got to cook some food and stuff. Oh, another fun thing I did last night. I started trying to cook something, and I don't know. I don't think I had too much to drink at that point, but I spilled like hot oil on my ankle and burned it.
Ooh.
So like, yeah. I mean, I'm okay now. Like, it didn't really hurt me too much, but like, I was wearing like house slippers and jeans, and so they're all soaked in oil, and I got to do laundry and see if that'll wash out. But yeah, be careful, kids, when you're working with hot oil. It's hot.
Be careful when you're drunk.
Yeah, and also walks will tip over because they got round bottoms. So
Wait, what will?
Like a
walk,
walk,
like okay,
yeah. So that's about all I got. I think I'm sure I'll remember something while Zach is talking and interrupt him. But Zach, what have you been working on?
Yeah, perfect. I look forward to that. I haven't really done much actual car work in the last week, I think, since we talked last. Truck's still been running okay for a nearly 30-year-old Ford pickup. So that's always good when it doesn't blow up after you rebuild it. So pretty proud of that. But I did talk to the guy that I'm buying that Shelby Cobra from this week, and He finally has full ownership of his late father's properties, so we are good to go pick that up in the near future. We're going to try to get down there because it's in Nevada currently. Going to try to get down there before the snow sets in and fucks up all the passes between here and there. So I should have a Shelby Cobra project within the next month or so. So definitely looking forward to that one.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That just makes me think that, I don't know, fun fact, Nevada is Spanish for snowy. So you got to get to Nevada before it becomes too Nevada.
Yeah. Muy Nevada.
I did not realize that.
I would like if Nevada was Pequeño Nevada, not Mucho Nevada.
Yeah.
That's the extent of my Spanish.
So I think you had said that this is like someone's project that they never finished. Like what all needs to be done on it?
Yeah, so his dad just had like a shitload of stuff basically in a warehouse because he was retired and old and did not care about money anymore. So he had like a few custom Harleys, trike, like a boat, a couple other cars, and then this Shelby Cobra project that he had. He'd sourced a 427 V8 for transmission. He bought a kit, so it came with a chassis and a fiberglass body, and then from the grainy photos that I've seen from it, he has a whole bunch of just miscellaneous parts. It looks like there's a wiring harness, a clutch that's not in right now for some reason. So I don't know if that's a spare or he just didn't put the clutch on before he put the engine and transmission together. And then just a whole bunch of other random parts. But the big things that it's still going to need is there's kind of a third section between the chassis and the body. It's basically just like a cockpit tub. Doesn't look like that's there. Wheels and tires aren't there. Rear end isn't there. And interior, I think, like just basically seats and a steering wheel. It looks like it has some gauges lying around. But yeah, a lot of the bigger stuff is there, but also a lot of the bigger stuff is not there. So generous estimate, 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it looks like it looks to be a Tremec transmission behind a pretty accurate to the original Ford 427 V8. So definitely going to try to make this thing as honest of a reproduction 65 Shelby Cobra that I can within reason.
Yo, I'm not good at Ford stuff. The 427 was kind of their like regular big block. That's not like the weird Hemi that they did, is it?
I don't think it was a weird one. They had a side oiler 427 that was the really high performance one that was a little different. But from what I can tell, it's not the side oiler. Again, super grainy photos. That would be awesome if it was. But if I were to wager a guess, I would say it's just a standard 427 V8.
I think, didn't they make like a overhead cam version of that too? Like, I think it was a racing motor of some kind.
Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm thinking of the Boss 429 motor.
Yeah, that one's real interesting.
Well, like, it's not labeled the Hemi in the same, like, capital H way that Dodge does, but it was a hemispherical combustion chamber with big valves, so.
Right, yeah.
Well, it sounds like either way you're going to have enough power to kill yourself easily.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I'm super looking forward to that. Just a shitload of horsepower in a tiny little car with absolutely no driver assists. It's going to be a blast, and hopefully I don't die, but we will see. If I were going to go out in some way, I think ripping around a 400 plus horsepower Shelby Cobra is pretty up there on the list. That's a way to go.
Yeah, how much does that thing even weigh? Fiberglass body on that tiny ass little car. That can't be like 2,000 pounds.
Yeah, I think original production was like around 22 something to like maybe 23 full fluids and driver. So yeah, we'll see if I can keep it in between the lines.
Yeah. I mean, my MR2 weighs, I think, maybe around 24 or 2,500 pounds. And that's got maybe 100 horsepower. And it's not fast, but it's quick enough for me. So, like, I don't know, imagining that with, like, what, 400 horsepower or something like that, 500. I don't know what
It
that's
depends on
gonna
the
make.
build, but I think 427s did better than 1 horsepower per cubic inch a lot of times.
Yeah. If it is a side oiler, which again, very low chance that it is, those motors are rated to 540 at the crank.
Damn.
So yeah, on the off chance that it is, it's going to be pretty much like a 4-to-1 weight to power ratio.
Yeah.
All right.
1 to 4 power to weight. So yeah, a little absurd, but
yeah.
fun.
For
fun.
the metric folks, that's right around 7-liter engine.
Yeah.
So it's a big one.
Oh yeah. The spirit of Carroll Shelby was, let's see if we can put the most horsepower available to me right now in the smallest platform available to me right now. And he fucking did it, man. He did it.
Yeah.
One of the famous quotes from Carroll Shelby was, "There's no such thing as too much horsepower, just not enough traction."
Oh yeah. And a big part of my budget is going to go to tires, specifically the rears, because I kind of want to be able to use the power and not just spin every single time I touch the accelerator.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, my buddy, in an effort to motivate me to go ahead and finish the big block for my car, we haven't like set up any formalities, but we're gonna do a head-to-head drag race of his mostly stock 440 69 Charger. So we're gonna do a street race to see who's got the most car after I get my motor finished.
Man, what is building cars about but just racing your buddies in them?
That's just doing racetrack shit with your friends.
Hell yeah. That's what it's all about, man.
One of the car podcasts I listen to is the Smoking Tire, and the host of that, Matt Farah, he was talking about how when he was in his 20s, I forget exactly how old, he got a Shelby Cobra replica and put a detuned NASCAR engine in it.
Oh.
And I don't know how much power it had, but it was more than enough. And he's like, yeah, that I was way too young and inexperienced for that much power. It was a bad idea, and I almost died a couple times. And he's like, if I was gonna do it again, I would just have like a 289 or whatever, the smaller, is that the same as a 5.0 Mustang motor? I forget.
No,
5.0s for 302.
Yeah, it's a little smaller.
Okay, yeah.
But that is the motor that came in the more pedestrian version, we should say, of the Shelby Cobra. Had the 289. Still a shitload of power for such a small car, considering that that platform was built with a naturally aspirated 4-cylinder originally.
Right. And this guy, Matt Farah, was talking about someone else he knew with a Cobra replica that I think it had like, it was either supercharged or turbocharged and had like around 800 horsepower. And then he put a 200 shot of nitrous on it. And the only time he ever used the nitrous was on a runway, and he never used it again. It's like, even on a runway, it scared him that much. He's like, no, fuck this. I don't need 1,000 horsepower.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we're talking about that like it seems absurd, but I want my van, when it's finished, should be around 3,000 pounds. And like I've said before, I'm hoping for 800 to 1,000 horsepower at the wheel. So not as good of a power. Actually, no, probably a crazier power to weight ratio. I'm way too hungover to do that math right now.
But at 3,000 pounds and 1,000 horsepower, fast math, that's 3-to-1.
Yeah. Okay. After our talk the other day, I think that I'm probably gonna shoot more for the 800 horsepower range.
Yeah, and I think by the time this episode comes out, that episode will have dropped. So listeners, go back and listen to. I don't know what we're gonna call that one. The van engine discussion or something like that.
I'll come up with a good pun for you.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let me know. I think we might put that out tomorrow from when we're recording this. So let me know.
Van puns are easy to find. Hell, my van club is called Vandemic.
Nice. What was I going to say? Oh, sorry, Zach. Did you have something?
Got it. Communist Manifesto. Write it down.
All right, I'll write it down.
Literally writing it down. Perfect.
See how long that took? And that's me as hungover as you've ever spoken to me.
Man, we should have called that leaded gasoline episode the conquest of leaded gasoline.
Or just even the conquest of lead would have. Yeah, damn,
that would have worked too.
I have been slacking on the episode titles. I've just been like, here's what we talked about lately.
I've been slacking on being a functional human being, so I think you're still a step ahead of me.
Yeah.
Listeners, if you have any recommendations for episode titles or how to be a functioning human being, send them in. carsandcomrades@gmail.com.
Yeah.
No, I've just abandoned the concept of functioning.
Don't address them to Brandon. He ain't going to fucking read it.
Yeah.
But some of us still have a little bit of hope.
Can't teach an old dog new tricks. It's just train wreck until I die at this point.
Well, if you're ever down my way, I'll let you drive the Cobra, and, that could happen sooner rather than later.
I'll bring the van out and I'll race the Cobra.
Oh, hell yeah. We got to set this up. Maybe a halfway point. We can
Sick.
I'm get together. It. Oh, yeah.
I'll pick up
100%.
I'll pick up Connor on the way, and we'll have our first you can bring Bryant out, and we'll have our first live recording.
Oh, that'd be fucking sick. We should set up a Patreon so we could fund some of this shit, but nah.
Yeah. I mean, we only have a few hundred listeners. I don't know if they'll, even if they just pitch in like a buck or two, that wouldn't be a whole lot.
Guys, if you each want to pitch in $100 a month so that we can do this.
Yeah.
Dude,
you're getting nothing extra. No bonus episodes, no bonus content, just for, just to have wacky races.
And not to I don't even know. Like, I'm gonna sound like a fucking asshole right now, but like, I'm making so much money at the job I'm at right now. If I keep working, I'll just buy everybody fucking gas. I don't care.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
You can be our wealthy benefactor.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been a fucking interest-free fucking bank for a few of my friends lately, so I'm like, first time in my life I've ever had real money, so I'm like kind of stoked that I can just do shit for everybody.
Oh yeah, you'll be the George Soros to our personal Antifa.
Yeah.
Dude, last time I tried loaning someone money, they never paid me back and kind of disappeared. I don't know where they are now, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not too mad about the money. I kind of wish the guy would talk to me again. I don't know if he's still alive even. So
Jesus.
Yeah, I don't know. Terry, if you're out there, hit me up. Yeah, I don't know. I got a couple things about the John Deere strike. I don't know, Brandon, if you had anything else more about IATSI.
Not really. Details are going to continue to emerge. As of recording, the contract was announced like, dude, not less than 24 hours ago. And me and it's wild in Pittsburgh. IATSI is like a very popular job in the punk scene. So like, last night it was a couple of like the old heads' birthdays, and there was a big thing. So we were just drinking all day long. There was like a dozen fucking union members there at the party, and then over to the bar. So we were all like hammered when we got the email and like my one friend was just like, "We're not going on strike Monday. They just fucking ruined my birthday." And yeah, it was we didn't get the details too good because we were absolutely belligerently wasted when we found out that we weren't going on strike. So
Yeah.
yeah, more details on that as it comes, but it looks like the gist of it is we got a shitty contract and our representatives caved.
Yeah.
But I'm basing I haven't gone through the contract or really even like the bullet points. It just looks like everyone else online that I see responding to the contract is like, well, we got fucked. And I'm like, well, these people seem to know more than I do. So that's I'm taking their word at it.
Yeah. I think more or less the same thing happened with John Deere and the UAW, but then like a week later they went on strike anyways. So I don't know. Maybe there's hope yet for IATSI.
I have heard some rumblings that this contract could get rejected. I don't know the bureaucracy, like how that works, because they came to an agreement, but I guess there is still a way for membership to reject the contract. No idea how that works. I could be wrong. I just read that somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not even formally in the union yet, so like I don't understand how all this stuff works.
Yeah. I've just been, watching it on Twitter, so I don't know all the details, but
Yeah.
I'll read a couple things here. This guy Jonah Furman has been real good on Twitter about posting different union stuff, especially with the the John Deere strike. Is that in Illinois? I think, I'm not sure. So this is something he posted, I think, yesterday. This week's union roundup is a big one. Lots of strike activity all over the country. 2,000 Buffalo hospital workers, 2,000 Washington carpenters, 1,000 Alabama miners, 700 Massachusetts nurses, 450 West Virginia steel workers, 420, nice, Kentucky whiskey workers, 350 Denver janitors, 1-day strike, 300 Los Angeles aerospace manufacturers, 200 Reno bus drivers, 100 Pennsylvania teachers, 75 San Antonio symphony musicians, 50 West Virginia machinists, and then potential strikes. So this is an older list, I think. So, 65,000 film and TV workers, IATSI, 37,000 Kaiser healthcare workers, 10,000 John Deere manufacturing workers, which they're on strike now as of recording. Thousands of grad students at Harvard, Columbia, Illinois State University, and 20,000 California State University faculty members, 2,000 telecom workers in California, 400 hospital workers in Oregon, 350 hospital workers in California, and then school bus drivers in, I got this covered up, Warwick, Rhode Island, Las Cruces, New Mexico, Elk Grove, California. And so like, they don't call it Striketober for nothing. Like, people are on strike all over the place because shit sucks. I talked with, I don't know if we were recording when we talked about this, but I mean, my workplace, we're kind of getting fucked over on paid time off. So we're not going to go on strike. We're not unionized or anything, but something might happen. And then all these people are mad about, I don't know, vaccine mandates, but whatever, they can die mad as far as I'm concerned. But there's plenty of labor militancy.
You love seeing it.
Yeah, for sure. Quick detail: the John Deere workers are striking at 14 Deere plants, 7 in Iowa, 4 in Illinois, 1 each in Kansas, Colorado, and Georgia. So
okay, cool.
Pretty well
I didn't know
nationwide.
I didn't know they had so many different facilities there. I knew someone that worked at the one in Illinois. That's why I said that. But yeah,
probably the most upsetting thing to me about us not going on strike is that, again, I haven't read the union rules all the way through, but as I understand it, if you wildcat, you're out of the union. Done.
Wow.
So
that's kind of tough.
Yeah, so if you can do it, and then it's you're out. You would have to organize so effectively that there is absolutely no way they can get rid of everyone.
Right.
I mean, didn't that strike vote pass, or the vote to authorize a strike vote pass with 95+% approval of voters? Or
96.5.
Oh yeah,
Damn.
But that's the international. So across the board, basically everybody was pro that. But the problem being, like, you wouldn't be able to organize a wildcat of that size.
Right. Yeah.
Even locally, I think there's about 400 IATSI members locally, or 600, something like that. So you would have, and like I'm not gonna like play it up. Pittsburgh does not have the worst like local in terms of like bad treatment. I think the bigger issue, but like we do have a lot of the same issues that everyone complains about all over, which is that they will absolutely work people into the ground. One of the most common stories that you hear in terms of a complaint about our union is that we work so much that crashing like on your way home from work is a common occurrence.
Right.
Like people are constantly getting hurt because on their 70th consecutive day at work after a 16 or 18-hour shift, they crashed their car because they fell asleep driving. I don't think I was very clear about that. Yeah, people just keep falling asleep driving.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even an exaggeration. I think my friend who is in a slightly higher position in the union said that his longest stint was 90-something days without a day off.
Fuck.
12-hour minimums.
Wow.
And no amount of pay is going to offset that.
Right.
Yeah, that's like, I'm like, dude, I don't care how good of money I make. You're taking my life away from me, which is like in the most literal possible way. Like that's something I can never get back.
Yeah.
Like it was last summer. My buddy worked most of the summer on that show. He couldn't hang out or do anything because he was doing 12 to 16-hour days, 7 days a week for 3 months. He didn't get to have a summer that year.
Yeah. I knew this this guy who's like a friend of a friend, some like tech bro type guy. I forget exactly what industry he worked in, but he once was bragging about like working like 100-hour weeks, and I'm like, cool, dude. Yeah, I'm real impressed that you just like threw your life away for work. Like, what the fuck? Why would you do that?
I hate to admit it, but I'm having to force myself out of that mentality because I have always been like one of those people. It's like, I'm not afraid to work 80 hours a week. Not being a reactionary about it, but just sort of having like a sort of cognitive disconnect where, you know, you're brought up to believe that hard work is like the thing. And like, I think I've related to this sort of before, but like, it's the mentality of you have to kill the cop in your head. Like, you can hate the police and then still buy into a lot of the propaganda. You can hate that you have to work 80 hours a week, but still in your head have the mentality of like taking a certain amount of pride in it. Fuck that, dude. No, if I could find a way to make the amount of money I make, like, and work 3 days a week, I would do that. Fuck working.
Oh yeah. Kill the Protestant work ethic in your head, I guess.
For real.
Yeah.
I do have a couple more things about John Deere and the UAW. So this is kind of funny. They've been putting salaried office workers on the shop floor as scabs. And it didn't go so well, or it hasn't been so far. So again, from Jonah Furman's Twitter, on the first full day of John Deere using non-union workers to attempt to replace UAW members on the factory floor, didn't even make it till 8 a.m. without a 911 call. Or 911, excuse me.
Yeah, never forget that.
So yeah, fire department apparently says this was a medical call, not an accident, for what it's worth. Can you all hear the ice cream truck out my window?
Yeah, but I think it's a nice touch.
Yeah.
Puts a real jovial tone under that 911 call.
Yeah, okay, that's not an ice cream truck. That's just our drop for a 911 call.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little obscure. You wouldn't get it. Yeah, and then I think also on the first day they had I don't know if this is related or not, but they had someone like run into something expensive with a tractor because they forgot that they had the weights on the front. So yeah. there's a screenshot of the incident report. It's pretty funny. And then so also like all these office workers that they're not used to this kind of work, as you could tell. Like they're not meeting their like production goals, and like everything's going out late and broken, and they're also not happy about it. Like they're not having fun doing all this stuff, and some of them are grumbling about like, hey, maybe us salary workers need a union also. So it's maybe having the opposite effect that the higher ups wanted. Which, I mean, I don't know why they didn't, like, basically the same exact thing happened like 30 something years ago when John Deere workers went on strike in the 80s. They brought in scabs and office workers, and a lot of them hurt themselves and broke things, and so yeah.
To the surprise of no one, they're not good at running a factory.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like when you have these technical and like skilled labor positions, like they're that for a reason. Like, God, this hangover is fucking killing me. It's like you can't just like when like I worked as a machinist for years. I was not like after 5 years, I still barely felt capable of doing the job because it's a really highly technical and difficult job. There was some stuff I was insanely proficient at, and some stuff that I was like just god awful at. So I can only imagine that when you're putting together tractors, it's no different. And I don't know how you would possibly expect to just bring in an accountant and say, build this tractor.
Hey man, you're good
Harold,
with
we got a
numbers.
payroll. We need you on the shop floor.
Right.
Dude, imagine being the farmer who buys the tractor that got built by like the folks from accounting.
Yeah. I guess, that reminds me, like in the future we might talk about this, but like John Deere has been real shitty about this whole like right to repair thing. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know how much you all have followed that, but like they're
a good
basically,
amount.
Yeah, they're saying like, basically we want our trained John Deere technicians to repair a tractor. And for a lot of farmers, they can't just like drive the tractor to the John Deere dealership and like get it fixed. It's like it's a whole operation to get this 20,000-30,000 pound tractor to get fixed. A lot of farmers are used to doing their own repairs. And
Yeah, I mean, like when you hear John Deere, I think you just think like regular sort of tractor, but like we're talking about combines and like
right.
serious industrial equipment. Like this is not a load it onto your fucking car hauler and take it up the road. This is specialized equipment. It's instead of it can be something really simple. I remember one guy talking about how like he had learned to hack some of the equipment so that he was able to repair it himself. And it saved him days because between loading it onto a trailer and transporting it to wherever it's getting repaired, and then the time that it takes for them to like go into it and repair it, et cetera, he just can fix it. He just work on it for a couple hours and fix it. So in the amount of time that it would have taken him to get it to the repairs, he's just fixed it.
Yeah.
And
To be really specific, John Deere wants you to call them and schedule for a John Deere representative to come out to where the tractor is, load the tractor, bring it to the nearest John Deere facility, which if you're working on a farm is possibly hundreds of miles or thousands of miles away, have their technicians then, put it in a queue to be repaired whenever they possibly can, and then transport that tractor back to you, which, if you know anything about growing crops, there's a very finite amount of time that you can do certain procedures within in a year.
Right.
And so your entire yearly income basically could be ruined through, a bad valve, a bad, simple piece of machinery that you could easily fix yourself if you're halfway competent. But no, John Deere will lock out the tractors so that they cannot be restarted after it senses, a failure to function.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
so
my understanding
absurd.
is they're using the a clause in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act to basically claim copyright over like the source code in the computers that run the tractor, and say that since there's a computer in there, everything attached to it is, we control how that is repaired. And, if you try and fix it yourself, you'll void the warranty. And we can also brick it remotely with the computer, so you can't even drive it or whatever. So yeah, like people are having to like hack the firmware on their tractors to get it to work, which is just not a sentence I thought I would ever say. But I don't
It's
know.
like jailbreaking your iPhone, but times a million.
Yeah.
And to be able to grow corn.
Right.
Yeah.
I was watching a little
Why
bit
the
of
fuck do they even need that much technology? Like,
right.
what improvement has all of these electronics contributed to this equipment?
I mean, a lot of them do have navigation guidance on them, which is
Yeah.
a pretty cool thing to have, I guess. It does help, the efficiency of
Okay,
growing
fair enough.
corn. But
Yeah, they got GPS
outside of that,
to like
yeah, I
yeah.
don't know.
I mean, they can
Yeah,
like
I don't
keep
know.
the rows straighter or whatever, but
Well,
I don't
because
know.
like on a car, I understand it well enough to say like no, like anti-lock brake systems improve braking performance, and just there a lot of electronics are bullshit, and a lot of them actually like improve the performance and efficiency of the car. Oh my god, I think it's hailing. All right, well, if y'all hear that, then that's the weather in my house.
What was that?
Oh, the weather's getting really bad here, and it's hailing, and I didn't know if you could hear that from
I heard
the
something.
recording.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like what sounded like about 15 seconds of hail. Yeah, so like in a car, I get that, but on a tractor, I'm just like, doesn't that thing just have to dig holes and go in a straight line?
Yeah.
But I'm not a farmer; I don't know the ins and outs of that shit.
Yeah. Oh, one other little thing about John Deere is in Atumwa. I'm not sure where that is, Wisconsin or something. They had a delivery driver like driving a semi truck, come up and turn around at the picket line. So that's encouraging.
Nice.
They're also talking about like the all these scabs are doing such a shitty job that like all these deliveries are going to be late for like spare parts and stuff, and like it is harvest season for a lot of crops, so that could have an impact. You know, not to mention climate change is fucking up crops all over the place.
To mention something else about not crossing a picket line, we this was not a formal announcement, but through the grapevine, we had heard that UPS and FedEx were not going to cross a picket line for IATSI, so production offices would not even be able to receive packages through them.
Nice.
Yeah, if a FedEx driver was sent to one of the production studios to make a delivery, they were going to turn around if they saw picket lines. So they couldn't even get their fucking mail. It rules.
Yeah.
So pissed we're not going on strike. Like, I need the money, but like, I still wanted to go on strike. I've never been on a picket line.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that'd be kind of fun. It's always fun to hold a sign and yell at people.
Oh yeah, I was worried because my friends were like, "Please don't go to jail for killing scabs." Like I had a friend have a serious talk with me that's like, you can't actually beat the shit out of these people, right? And I'm like, fuck, I can't. You cross a fucking picket line, I'm gonna beat the fucking shit out of you, dude.
Nice.
But yeah, so I thought that was great that like they wouldn't even be able to like get packages delivered.
Yeah. Well, that's
Sorry, I keep making this about me.
no, that's cool. I don't have any more about the UAW. I mean, or John Deere or whatever. We'll maybe we'll have more to report next week whenever if we do something next week. I'm not really sure what our schedule is. Like I said last time, we're kind of just making this shit up as we go along. So listeners, yeah, help us organize our lives and podcast. Give us ideas about what to talk about. Give us tips and whatnot.
Or send us drugs.
Yeah. If you enjoy our hungover podcast, yeah, send us intoxicants.
And nothing reminds me of how much Connor contributes to our recordings than not having him
Right.
here.
Yeah, good luck to whoever edits this one. What was I gonna say? Well, should we try and do the dream build thing, or are we?
I'm down. That's easy for me.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, why don't you go first then? If you know, since you said you're kind of building your dream car at this moment, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that I could come up with some other like wild thing. Like there is technically like an iteration of my drag van that is my dream build where I'm actually going to like alter the body pretty drastically, like basically just make it smaller, like narrow it, shorten it, lower it, everything, so that I could build an actual like Big Daddy Roth cartoon with the blower hanging out of the back and shit like that. But I have nowhere near the sort of skill to do that just yet. So we'll discuss like my more realistic dream build, which is my drag van, and literally just doing the thing. It's going to be, I've talked about it on the show before, but I can't remember to what detail. So it's for now we're doing it on a budget. Like I think that when it's all said and done, we'll have spent about $4,500 to get the van running in what we expect to be the mid to high 11s in the quarter. So
Yeah, that's
eventually, like the dream build thing, we'll go with what I'm hoping to have it where it's at eventually, which is going to be like it'll be like a fairly stock van, custom paint job. I'm doing a red and yellow paint job. It is going to be called the Red Scare. I'm making custom hammer and sickle bubble windows for it. Yeah, I'm gonna do a very like obviously communist paint job, but like also like metal flake and lace paint, like lowrider style, like panels painted all over it, stuff like that. Not incredibly over the top, but pretty. I want to do a pretty good job of it. Real wild interior to match. It'll sit a little bit lower. We're gonna like lower the center of gravity. For me, I'm much more about the drivetrain than the rest of it. Like I think it'll look super cool when it's done. But if we're talking full dream build, I would put probably a supercharged 632 big block on it. Probably like as Zach and I discussed on the episode that's about to go out. I can't really do my dream build in real life because I realized that it was going to get like 2 miles to a gallon. And I would literally have like I would be able to fill up the gas tank and have anxiety over whether or not I could make it to another gas station. But since I'm just daydreaming here, yeah, supercharged 632, power glide. Yeah, I would love to say maybe put like a gear vendor's overdrive on it, but literally wouldn't have room because I mean the way that I'm mounting the motor inside of it, I believe the drive shaft I am running will be under 6 inches long. Like there will barely actually be a drive shaft. It will basically be couplers attached to each other.
right.
Yeah, I'm running. It's going to be a Ford 9-inch. It's been narrowed and gusseted, reinforced. We've already done the 4-link on the frame. I do have to. If we're doing dream build, I would do a full like custom tubular frame. Dude, I think I might do an angle chop if we're talking dream build too. Like angle chopped vans look pretty sick. Y'all know what that is, yeah?
Is that for the front suspension or?
No, that's body. You know what
Oh,
chopped
okay.
is when something that's
Yeah.
like cut and yeah, angle chop is exactly what it sounds like. They chop it, but it's at an angle so that like you're cutting a lot more of the windshield out and the rear is a lot more stock height. But a lot of times, what people do when they angle chop a van like that, usually the back windows, like in the back doors of the van, are also chopped and angled forward. So it's really like about halfway up the body. You just rotate the top half of the body like
Huh.
to a slight
Interesting.
angle. I can like I'd have to dig up some pictures because I've only seen maybe 5 or 6 angle chopped vans like that before, but every one of them looks so fucking sick. I've never seen an early van done that way, so I'd have to like maybe do like a rendering or something to see how that would actually look. But yeah, by and large, I'm the only sacrifices I'm really making on the build that I'm doing are for price constraints and drivability. Like I want this to be really fucking fast in the quarter mile, but I also want to be able to drive it to a fucking show or, cruise into like a van meet with my club without having to trailer it everywhere. And if I'm getting like 1.5 to 2 miles to a gallon, not going to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I feel like that's a pretty reasonable sacrifice too. Like, I'll just go with 800 wheel horsepower instead of 1200. The kind of sacrifices that we have to make in life. It's tragic, but you learn to live. But I mean, otherwise, yeah, I'm gonna do the wildest paint job that I can muster doing myself, and instead of buying like a nice like tube frame, like tube chassis for it, we've just back halved it and like fabricated all of the actual like rear ladder bar section. I mean, I did buy a ladder bar kit, but we did the frame from scratch. That's not from a kit. And yeah, I don't know, like buying kits sometimes, like, the kit that I bought for the 4-link was barely more than it was going to cost me to buy all the Heim joints for the 4-link. Like it was a really affordable kit. And we made everything else because I have way more fun making shit than I do buying kits. It's just, it's a cost benefit analysis to an extent, but for this, it was not really that difficult to do all the fabrication work myself. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Like nothing too wild, but it's a first gen Chevy van, very communist themed and fast as fuck.
Nice.
Yeah, I just really want to piss off like reactionary like car guys and be like, yo, I'm about to whoop your fucking ass with a van. A communist
Nice.
van. The Communist Vanifesto.
And the angle chop thing, is that just to look cool, or is it like is
no
it like
functionality to it at all? If anything,
okay.
It decreases functionality because you just have a lot less headroom.
Yeah.
I mean,
it would
technically,
look cool, yeah.
Technically, it would help with wind resistance. I guess it would slightly make it more aerodynamic. I mean, I know,
or maybe make some more downforce if it's at an angle.
I have wondered that. I don't know how much. Like, you don't really need a ton of downforce drag racing because, like, you don't have to really worry about traction much once you've hooked up in the first 60 feet. Like, you don't really need downforce. That's actually just going to cause more, rolling resistance.
Right.
But it could make it more aerodynamic. That is true. Like, it's not necessarily downforce, just reducing wind resistance.
There's that new show. I haven't watched it because it's on that like Motor Trend streaming app or whatever. I haven't paid for that, but it's called like Motor Mythbusters, and it's got the one guy Tori from Mythbusters, and they're testing like different myths around cars. And one of them
worked on that show.
Oh no shit! Okay, cool.
My friend Rose, who is the person behind Custom Vanner,
Okay.
Yeah,
Not
she's
in
great.
front of the camera. What, one of the behind the scenes people?
I actually thought that she was going to be on camera, but everything that I've seen from it, I've not seen any footage of her, so she might just be working on it. But
Gotcha.
she's a like very, very well established fabricator. She knows her shit inside and out, upside and down. Like, she's good.
Yeah. But one of the promos I saw for it, and maybe you know more, Brandon, but like they were chopping the top on a van to see if it would be more aerodynamic.
Oh no, I haven't really followed it that closely. I haven't talked to Rose in a couple of months, so I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I did pay for that thing once. I did enjoy watching I think it was called Hot Rod Garage
Yeah.
with oh, I forget the guy's name. One of them was named Lucky something. But
Lucky
yeah, that was
Pasta.
that was a pretty entertaining show.
I actually like a lot of those shows. My friend has the Motor Trend thing, and I keep meaning to sign up for it, but I don't know. When I'm at home, it's hard for me to like pay much attention. Kind of going back
Right.
to like why all of my friends have been commenting that I might have ADD.
Yeah, I paid for it like last year when they had a deal on it, like a holiday deal, like 10.
It's only like $5 a month.
Yeah, I think they had the whole year for like 10, $12 or something.
Hmm.
So it was like $1 or $2 a month. But
I used to have my friends log in, but it definitely does the thing where if I log in, it logs him out, and if he logs in, it logs me out, and
oh yeah.
it became sort of a headache because he can never remember what his password is, and so I got tired of having like the text conversation where like he's giving me like 6 different passwords with 3 different emails to try, and I'm like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's me. You will all see pictures of my dream build one day because I'm hoping to have it done next year.
All right. Well,
I won't, but I'm hoping to.
I got a couple things. I guess we can go in the same order, if that's cool with you, Zach.
Yeah, fine by me.
I talked a little bit about some of my ideas when we did the what do you call it, Fantasy Car Factory discussion.
Yeah.
Some of my ideas for my MR2, and I think one I discussed was there's a guy in Canada named Arlen Sansom, I think I'm pronouncing that right, who built his own custom motor controller for a Nissan Leaf motor and put one in a Honda CRX and was doing, I forget what kind of times he was doing in the quarter mile, but he dyno tested it once and got like 300 to the wheels with this custom motor controller, whereas I think normally they're like 150 horsepower. So he basically doubled the output of this motor. And I think he can only run it at max power for like a few seconds at a time or it'll overheat, but that's fine for drag racing and stuff.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't overheat in under like 12 or 13 seconds, he's good.
Right, exactly. So I'd kind of like to make an electric MR2 with that kind of setup. I think that would be pretty fun. I mean, I have other ideas too. I think it'd be cool to put double wishbone suspension on it. Like there is certain generation of Miata has basically the same track width, maybe like half an inch wider or something. And then also the Honda CRV, the all-wheel drive ones have pretty similar track width, and those both have double wishbone suspension. So I figure between the front and rear suspension of those cars, I could cobble together something that would fit on an MR2 chassis. And there'd be plenty of cutting and welding and shit, but it's a possible thing to do. But I think with that you could even do like long travel off-road suspension and make like a dune buggy sort of MR2. I feel like that'd be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
Dude, if I could just real quick say something about electric drag racing.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, I support it, and like a lot of electric motors you can get some pretty crazy power out of, but you don't realize how like much the sound of a drag car plays a role in the experience of watching racing until suddenly something is just sitting there dead quiet and then just disappears. Like, like, holy shit, that was really fast. I did not expect that from the dead silence.
Yeah. I mean, last time I went to the drag strip, it was years ago before I started working second shifts. But there was a couple people running Teslas, just brought their own Teslas, and those would put down pretty good times. But yeah, it was pretty eerie to watch them just launch silently, especially the all-wheel drive ones. They just hook up and go. There's no like wheel spin at all or anything.
Yeah, it's cool. I respect it. I'm pro electric car, somewhat. Like it has more drawbacks than I think people will really like openly discuss. But like a lot of that can be dealt with. But for drag racing, it's just so fucking weird.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think like as a practical mode of transportation, like electric bicycles are 10 times better than electric cars as far as like, environmentally friendly and easy to park and don't take up too much space. I mean, you can't really ride them in the snow, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that there is going to be a genuinely positive way to build cars or any technology you can come up with to have cars where it's going to be superior than just living in a place with a really good public transportation system. Like that's
exactly.
That's the way to go. Like like me having 12 cars is absurd, and it's a weird world that I live in where I can do that. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I got another van. I'm upset. So now I'm at 12 vehicles.
Yeah. I mean, they call it Carcane for a reason.
I was given this as payment for something, so.
Okay. You're just holding it for a friend.
It's totaled. I was just going to say it's totaled, but it has a lot of good usable parts that I can like patch up my van with. So
yeah.
It's a win, and it was just what my buddy gave me. He was going to give me just the transmission from it, but
I think you did mention this. I don't know if we were recording at the time, but yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, yeah. I couldn't remember whether I don't know. The last 2 weeks have been kind of a blur.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, and I don't know. I didn't say this, but for the listener, it's I'm hungover because I had a breakup last night, so it's not like I get wasted on the weekends on a regular basis. So, in case you were,
I could probably come up with some excuse for why I did that yesterday. But I just get wasted on weekends and also a lot of weekdays.
I mean, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be so puritanical or whatever, but
I mean, I actually have a really good excuse. I have serious mental health issues that I deal with in really counterproductive ways, so I get wasted a lot.
Yeah, I also got in a fight with my window blinds and I won, so it was a good evening. Let's say.
I feel like in that situation there are no winners or losers.
Yeah, so I might need new window blinds.
You either get your ass kicked by your blinds or you just destroy something that now has to be replaced.
Exactly. I mean, they're kind of shitty, so that's why I got in a fight with them. It was their fault. What was I talking about?
Your dream build.
Oh yeah. So I guess those are my ideas.
Episode we've ever recorded. Possibly. I have gotten so drunk that I don't remember 2 of our recordings.
Yeah, I don't know. I think one of those we weren't actually recording, or maybe we didn't publish it or something. I don't know.
Okay, good.
It's lost to the sands of time.
Oh man, I look so much better to the listeners if that's the case.
I mean, I guess I covered like my dreams of MR2 stuff. I think at one point I was thinking of it would be cool to put the 3-liter straight 6 from a Volvo in there because they made one that fit in transverse, like a CX-90 or whatever, and they made a twin turbo version that made like around 300 horsepower on low boost. So that would be kind of fun. If it would fit. I think it's probably too wide for an MR2. Maybe a second gen it would fit. I don't know. But what I'll probably end up doing if I ever spend some money on that car is poly bushings, because the rubber bushings in there are pretty much shot, and I don't think you can buy replacement rubber ones. Maybe coilovers after that. And then I'd like to upgrade the brakes to the later, like 87 and later, bigger brakes. Or even, I think I've seen some people put second gen hubs and rotors and all that shit on there, and you can get 5-lug wheels on there also. And then if the engine ever goes out on this one, I might, I don't know. I don't know if I'll have the money or time for this, or if we'll be able to get gasoline in the future. But I think it'd be cool to get the 2ZZ motor out of a Pontiac Vibe GT that we talked about in a previous episode. Or it was the same engine. It was in the Corolla, the top of the line performance Corolla, Celica, Matrix, and maybe another car too, beyond the Pontiac Vibe. So it's a twin cam 1.8. Oh, and the Lotus Elise too. There was a tuned up version of that in the Lotus Elise. It's a twin cam 1.8 with variable valve timing, I think, sort of like VTEC, with like a second cam profile on the intake, I think. I think it redlines around like 7,000 or 8,000. Makes around like 170 to 180 depending on the tune. I think it needs premium gas though, but it's also like it's a aluminum block, so it's lighter than the 4AM motor that's in there right now. Yeah, I don't know. So it'd be a pretty good performance upgrade. I mean, also if I wanted to go the cheaper route, there's like the same, I think the 1Z motor that was in the 3rd gen MR2. I think a version of it was in the various like Scions and Toyota Echoes, and there's a version in the Prius, but that has like 13-to-1 compression ratio, but different cam profile, so it's a Miller cycle. And I think I might have talked about this. There's some guy that put Toyota Echo cams in a Toyota Prius motor so that it doesn't have that Miller cycle thing, and so it takes advantage of the full compression, that 13-to-1 compression. I think it still only makes like 120 horsepower, but I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun. For my Subaru, I'll probably just keep it mostly stock. I mean, I think I might want to eventually do the twin scroll turbo setup that came on the JDM STI. And that's good for like 275, 280 horsepower, I want to say. But that would require like some custom exhaust adapter thing and maybe a different oil pan. I forget if you need a special oil pan for that. And of course, a custom tune, upgraded injectors and stuff. And I'm not sure if the motor I have in there right now is going to last with that kind of boost on it. But what was I going to say? What I'd really like to do is something like the Mighty Car Mods guys did with their Subaru Legacy. They called Super Gramps. And that's I think they have a 3.6 liter flat six out of like a Tribeca or something with a turbo on it. I think it would be cool to have the 3 liter flat six, the EZ30D, I think is what it's called, from like 2004 to 2010, I want to say, is when they made that. And that only makes like, I don't know, 210 to 230 stock. But I think it'd be cool with like some kind of a supercharger or twin turbos. So the idea I had was the supercharger from a Mazda Millennia sedan. They had a supercharged version with a Miller cycle engine, and that supercharger, like if you just drive it at the whatever pulley ratio that it's set up with already, it would make like 20 or 30 pounds of boost on the Subaru motor. So I wouldn't be doing that. That would blow it up.
No, you should.
But like, I don't know, 8 to 10 PSI, I think would be plenty on that motor. You can make 300 to 400 horsepower pretty easy without blowing it up.
Yo, this is dream build though, dude. You just get to like spend your pretend money on a nice motor
Yeah.
so that it can handle 30 pounds of boost.
Yeah. Closed deck.
Okay, so I'm going to
forged
spend.
internals. Go all out.
Yeah. Yeah, closed deck, all that. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of the idea. It would be cool to have it either in a Legacy or in a Sabru, I think. I've also seen some people that will. I think there's someone building one. There's a Facebook group called Six Swapped Subarus. So people that are putting those 3 liter or 3.6 or even the older 3.3 liter engine into different various Subarus. The problem with that is that the later model ones had the CAN bus wiring system. It's real complicated to use the stock wiring harness, and you're better off just using a aftermarket ECU. And at that point, you're not going to be able to like pass any kind of emissions test, probably. At least
Why
not
are
the
you
kind
being
where they
pragmatic on your dream build?
exactly. Yeah. But there are people in that group that are using. I think it's an Audi supercharger that's meant for like around a 3 liter V6 or something. So that might be a good matchup too. But yeah, I don't know. Twin turbos might be fun too. I've also seen people that will put LSV8s in an Impreza and make them rear drive. I think that would be pretty fun. I'm not sure if the stock rear end would hold up to that, but apparently you can put a Nissan rear end in those things, and they'll bolt right up. Because fun story, when in the 70s, I think late 70s is when Subaru developed their all-wheel drive technology. Before that, they were just front-wheel drive. They used Nissan parts to make their prototype. And so even with like a 2005 Subaru, it'll take a Nissan diff from the 90s or even later, I think. So yeah. I don't know. I got some other ideas that I'll probably never get to. Like, I'd kind of like to have a turbo Miata. I mean, I had a Miata that I was going to turbo, and then that never happened. But the other thing I'd like to do is build a steam-powered 4x4. Just because I think it would be fun and stupid. And my candidate for this is a International Harvester Scout.
Ooh, nice.
Because
I love those. Good choice.
Yeah. So those came with I forget the cubic inches or whatever, but they had a V8, and then they had a 4-cylinder version that was basically just half of a V8. So they cut off one bank of the cylinders. And so they have a lot of interchangeable parts between them. I'm not sure if this would work, but I think it would be cool to, because with a if you have a 4-cylinder steam engine, you want the crank throws to be 90 degrees apart from each other, like they are on a V8. So put the V8 crankshaft in the 4-cylinder, and then build the upper end custom to have the steam cylinders on there and everything. And then I'm not sure where you'd put the boiler and the water tank and all that kind of shit, but I don't know. I think that would be fun.
A friend of a friend here in town manually machined all the parts because he's like a hobbyist machinist, which to me is an insane concept because machining equipment's like so expensive and all the tools cost a fortune. But
Right.
he had a very small machine shop and manually machined a steam engine for his boat.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's a weirdly attainable goal. It's wildly impractical, but it's entirely doable.
Yeah, and I think there was some off-road shop that built a steam-powered Jeep, but it looks kind of dumb. It's like a 6x6 and has this like giant like steam train looking boiler on it, and it probably weighs like, I don't know, over 10,000 pounds or something. So like I would want to make things a little bit lighter. I don't know. I got real into those like Jay Leno videos where he's talking about his different steam powered cars a while ago, and the Doble that he's got, I think it's like from around 1920. That thing has some pretty interesting technology as far as like the boiler only has maybe like 1 or 2 liters of water in it at any given time. It's a very compact, boiler and engine and everything. and makes like 1,000 foot-pounds of torque, which is why I'd want to have it on an off-road machine.
That's like what a
So-
tractor trailer produces,
Yeah.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
like a big rig. Yeah.
And you can get 100% of that torque from 0 RPM, like an electric motor.
Huh.
So,
Dude, that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. I mean, in theory, you wouldn't really need a gearbox, and like you wouldn't need 4 low either. You have all the torque anyways. So you could just have, I don't know, instead of like with a typical rock crawler, instead of gearing it down, you'd want to gear it up or whatever. So you could have like, I don't know, 2-to-1 rear end or something. Or even 1-to-1, I don't know.
That would like fuck with so many people, because you never like, you always just see gear ratios stated as something like, 307 or whatever. Because no, you don't really need to like say what the, like, it's not, you don't have to say 1 to 307, but
Right.
with your configuration, you would have to be very clear about that, and it would confuse people.
Yeah.
Or just not be clear at all and be super vague. Like, what's the gear ratio? 1. You gonna finish that? Nope. That's it.
Yeah. So those are my dumb ideas. Oh, another thing is the Mazda supercharger that they put on the Millennia. It's a I think it's a Lysolm type is what they call it, or twin screw or something. And with those, they actually they compress the air internally rather than just pushing it into the intake. And what that means is if you run them backwards, they act as a steam engine. So they expand internally. And so I think one of those would be cool to make a steam powered motorcycle with. So have like 1 or 2 of those, or maybe even 3 of those superchargers, like geared together with like a toothed belt or something to run a motorcycle.
I don't think
I
I
don't know.
understood what that meant, but I don't think I'm going to in my current state.
It's okay. I can send you some diagrams or something. But I don't know. I think it would be cool to have a steam powered anything, really. I one of my life goals is to set some kind of steam powered record, like maybe a land speed record, or like a time at Pike's Peak hill climb or something like that.
I mean, it's probably like not a super competitive class too, so it's probably surprisingly doable if I had to guess.
Right. Yeah. I know 24 Hours of Lemons has rules against pressure vessels. They don't want people like having like pressurized gasoline or whatever on their cars, or like, propane or something. And I think they might have a problem with like 700 PSI of steam pressure in something.
Yeah, actually, when you phrase it that way, I want to stay the fuck away from these steam motors.
I mean, it's only in a certain area, it's not that much actual steam. But if you like, if it's superheated steam, it's probably around 700 to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit also. So like if it leaks, it'll like strip the flesh off your bones, and you won't even be able to see the steam. It'll be invisible.
Fun.
So yeah.
How would that work as far as like a Pikes Peak scenario? Because I mean, is the altitude change gonna fuck with the PSI of the steam and fuck up your engine, or is it self-contained enough to not really care about what the outside? Air
you might
is?
not. You might have to fuck with the burner in the boiler. It might not be as efficient as you get less oxygen coming up. But the steam engine itself, it doesn't give a shit about what the outside oxygen is. So in that regard, it's like an electric car, which is why, at Pikes Peak, there's so many electric cars winning now, because they don't have to factor in the altitude as far as like the air and stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would be fine. Like, if anything, you might get a little bit better performance because the outside air pressure would be less as you go up, and
that makes sense.
It would expand more. But I'm not sure about that.
not to go off on too much of a tangent, but they paved the second half of Pikes Peak, and now it's not half pavement, half dirt, and it makes me very sad because that was like half
I
of
think
the
it's
coolness of it.
I think it's 100% paved now.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for many years it was like 50% asphalt roughly, and then 50% dirt road. Like up to the peak, it was like a dirt road, and that was like a huge factor in tuning your car's suspension, and everything was dealing with both asphalt and dirt conditions, and it just made it so much more interesting to me. But whatever, I guess I had to make it safe. Lame.
Well, I think it's more to do with erosion. It's because it's like I want to say the city of Colorado Springs like park department has administration over it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they were having so much like dirt and gravel and shit washed down that it was actually causing like an ecological problem. I think they got sued by the I don't know EPA or something. And basically they had to pave it to stop that erosion.
Damn. Now I feel like an asshole.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it was more fun when it was dirt. Like I got to be there, I think, on one of the last years that they had dirt on it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it was pretty fun seeing the cars slide around and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, they are quicker now that it's all paved, but it's a totally different, way of driving it.
Yeah.
It's not so much a rally racing. It's, tarmac. But yeah, I don't know. That's all I got. But yeah, sorry, Zach, if you got some stuff to say, go ahead.
Oh, no worries. That was yours are all way more inventive than mine. So that was pretty interesting to hear about all the steam powered stuff. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I doubt I'll ever get around to doing that shit, but it would be fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's still pretty doable if you do want to, and I like that.
Yeah.
It's technically possible. Practically difficult.
Fair, but still possible. And that's what you got to emphasize.
Yeah. So mine's not as creative or inventive as steam powered stuff, but as far as what I would like to build out for my currently owned vehicles, I really just want to take my 2011 WRX hatchback to the absolute pinnacle of possibility for Subaru stuff. So no motor swap to, like a V8 or anything like that. I want to just put in basically an STI drivetrain, or possibly get an STI of the same model year with the hatchback and everything. Because I think personally it's the best looking one they've ever made. The 2011 to 2014.
I need to point out that you just said you would like to possibly get an STI.
I would. I mean, it is a goal of mine is to get an STI. Well, just one. I mean, maybe two. It depends. You get one, you like it, you get another. It's fine.
I couldn't let that go without making a joke.
Yes, yeah. It is named. I would like to point out they named it the STI when they were more commonly known as STDs, not STIs. The nomenclature changed.
Yeah,
but they're sticking with it. They're like, fuck all that shit. It's still an STI.
I want to say there was a few cars with a STD level like trim package on some of them. I want to say Crown Vic had those.
Yeah. In a Crown Vic, the STD comes standard.
There's actually a company that makes aftermarket Harley stuff called STD.
Nice.
They make transmission and engine cases.
Mm.
And so it's hard to Google them because like
STD transmission case. Yeah, that doesn't Google well. No, it's actually surprisingly fitting for the Harley Davidson crowd though. That was just for you, Brandon.
Thanks, bud.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, have either of you ever read The Hell's Angels by Hunter S. Thompson?
I have not.
No.
It's got some interesting
I've read
parts in
some
that.
of it, actually.
Yeah, I'd say it's worth reading. I think my favorite passage is like he's like for one day in October or whatever, I for no reason that I can remember, I went out onto my back porch and shot a shotgun in the air 5 times and yelled and screamed, and then went back inside and went to bed. And that's just like non sequitur in the middle of the
You got to
page.
keep the property value under control.
Exactly. So that was the kind of things that he was doing when he was hanging out with the Hells Angels. But sorry, go ahead, Zach.
Yeah, sorry. Back to my dreams of acquiring an STI. So
Also
basically,
a very attainable goal.
yeah, basically, first step, I have a lot of unprotected sex.
Yeah.
No.
If
the
it was
car.
a bug eye WRX, you'd be a bug chaser, right?
Oh yeah, I forget that that's a thing. That's a horrible, horrible thing that exists.
This conversation is spiraling wildly out of control.
We need Connor here to
We
keep
need
us
Connor
in
to
line.
go back. Connor, come back to us.
Oh Jesus. Okay. I would like to get a 2011 to 2014 WRX hatchback tuned by Subaru Technica International. To be clear there. Because, like I said, I just think that's the best looking body style. That's why I have a 2011 WRX right now. So either I swap in the STI drivetrain or buy an STI and start with the easier to build off of platform. But basically do everything possible to just push it to its absolute peak. So that's a full closed deck block, built heads, cams, big rotated twin scroll turbo setup to get that power in the low end and make big power on the top end as well. And basically just build an ultimate daily driver is the way that I see it. I would like to shoot for 1,000 horsepower capable, but since it would be a daily, I would want to overbuild and then under push the engine to make, hopefully, tune it to precisely 666 horsepower, because I think that would be fucking sick, and hail Satan. Thank you, Brandon. And yeah, I love the Pandim body kits. I think Rocket Bunny is what most people know him by, but I would love to do the big wide fender kit, some nice dished wheels, slam it to the ground, probably on air ride so that I could get over pebbles and stuff when I needed to, and do like a mint green wrap on it with all cherry red accents, because I've never seen that color combo really done, and I think it would just look fucking fantastic. But yeah, that's my current Subaru dream build.
I know people have made 1,000 horsepower on those engines, but I'm pretty sure that would be real peaky and real laggy, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Since it's a 2.5 liter flat four, that would be the absolute maximum that you can make. That's, on ethanol on like 35 to 38 pounds of boost, I think is probably target boost numbers for that kind of power. But that's why, like I said, I would like to build it capable of peaking around 1,000, but detune it down some to like, I think 600, mid 600, 666 horsepower is doable on a full, flex fuel and everything. Huge injectors, probably like ID 2300s or something. Just spray a shitload of fuel and push a massive like 80 millimeter turbo to spray a shit ton of air. I think it can be done.
Okay. I mean, even with that, it would still be peaky and laggy.
Oh yeah, for sure. Which is specifically why I said I would like to have a twin scroll set up so that I could get a little bit more low end and not drive it at 1,000 peak horsepower. Probably run a smaller turbo on it.
Okay.
Slightly, still probably like 70 mil turbo.
So you're talking like you'd have the fuel system and the engine, everything capable of withstanding 1,000, but you wouldn't necessarily push it that hard.
Yeah, exactly. I think the big switch would be I would like to have 2 tunes basically built into the map and then have a spare turbo. Since it's dream builds, why not? Just have
Okay.
my big boy turbo 80, 84 millimeter sitting there for peak runs and then run probably like a low 70s or maybe like 75 mil turbo on the daily. That way it still has a shitload more horsepower than I probably need in a daily driver, but would be a little bit less, just all the boost at the absolute top end of what that thing can produce.
Yeah. That I don't know. That reminds me. I don't know. There's some dude in, I want to say, New Zealand or Australia who has a Subaru built for like circuit racing, and one of the things he did was move the entire drivetrain back
Mm-hmm.
like about a foot, and then has like chains driving the front wheels.
Yep. I thought that might be where you're going with that. I've seen that car. It's so fucking sick. It has a chain drive front diff, I guess is what you would call it. But yeah, it's basically just a
Right.
chain from the rear of the transmission forward or from one of the CVs or maybe both.
I think he's still got the front diff in the transmission.
Mm-hmm.
That part hasn't changed, but he's just got two drive chains up to, I don't know, like a jack shaft or whatever that goes to the front CVs. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need to look that up. That sounds wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty wild. Like, that's not the, like, there's other crazy shit going on with that thing. I want to, did he have a flat six? I forget. It was something like twin turbo, crazy horsepower.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly what he has in it, but I know that it's like a time attack car. It's built for time attack, but it still runs like high 8s in the quarter or something.
Fuck. Wow.
Yeah, it like something insanely fast in the quarter, even though it's set up for time attack. It's a ridiculous build, and that thing is absolutely just fucking bonkers insane. It's a super cool car.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
need to check that out. It's not my thing, but I'm always like interested in just outside of the box sort of shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some crazy Subaru builds out there. I mean, I'm impressed by a lot of them. I mean, there's like the formula that you follow where it's like you get the bigger turbo, you like you said, you rotate it so it fits in there better or whatever, and put a big front mount on it or whatever, and you can make 400 horsepower, 500 horsepower pretty easy with that kind of setup. But I don't know. There's people always pushing the envelope on those things.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's somebody doing a 6-speed or a 6-cylinder swap from an SVX, I think.
Right. Yeah.
Into
the 3.3 liter.
Yeah, into a 2017 STI currently.
Okay.
That looks pretty cool, and he had that whole motor built for him by Outfront. Outfront Motorsports did that.
And they're going to be putting boost on that, I imagine.
Yeah, it's a big single turbo setup, so he's shooting for like 1200 on that.
Wow.
Yeah, so that thing's going to be an absolute monster. But yeah, I want to keep it 4-cylinder probably, I think. Just to, like I said, push the EJ up to its logical peak. And then,
Yeah.
I feel like that's its illogical peak.
Yeah.
yeah, logical in the realm of like I have unlimited money, and if I blow it up, well, in this,
Then you have unlimited
money, so it doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've also been thinking about the idea of swapping in everything from an Audi RS6 as far as the engine goes, because that was into the Audi S4 that I have right now. That was the same basic engine that I have right now. It's a 4.2 liter V8, but the RS6 had a twin turbo setup on it, and packaging is just fucking terrible on the S4. So just going full hood rat style, like 4 hood pins in it with just cutouts in the hood. So it just lifts straight up over 2 massive turbos sticking out of the hood of an Audi S4, because I think it would be sick as fuck.
I kind of love it when people just say, fuck it, hang the turbo out the hood.
Yeah.
There's someone that has I think it was a Camaro with 4 turbos sticking out the hood. He calls it something like the redneck Bugatti or something.
Well, someone did that with a Mustang, but they put a turbo per cylinder, so it has 8
Yeah.
turbos.
I saw that. It doesn't even make much power.
No, you can't. Like, it's one cylinder running each turbo. They can't produce very much boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, I mean, like, it wasn't even not a lot of power. It was just not an impressive number, you know? Like, it was...
Right.
No, not for a V8 with 8 turbos on it. You'd think it'd be higher.
Yeah, it was something like 400 or 500 horsepower, if I remember correctly. Like, more than
Yeah.
a lot of critics were even expecting, but still, like, a number also attainable by that motor naturally aspirated.
Yeah. And
Well, I think... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to move on, but if you got something on this.
Oh, I was going to say, I think with turbos, even you want to have some amount of like exhaust tuning so that you'll like have the pulses interacting with each other correctly. Like on a Subaru, you've got unequal length headers from the factory, which is why they sound kind of like a V8. But a lot of people will put the equal length headers on those, and you get much better interaction between the exhaust pulses, and so it's more efficient. It makes boosts quicker. It doesn't sound as cool, but whatever. And so like that's kind of like what we were talking about with the twin scroll. It's kind of routing those two separate exhaust headers into two different housings in the turbo to kind of keep everything separated and hopefully spool up quicker. I think I'm explaining that correct. I'm sure there's more to it than that, but
yeah, that's the basic idea behind it. Just separate the exhaust pulses so that you don't get any of that weird exhaust pulse overlap that creates. I don't know. There's a word for it. There's some technical engineering word for it, but I can't think of it right now. It makes it vibrate-y. It makes the air too vibrate-y.
I think basically like your turbo is like slowing down and speeding up as the pulses come to it, and you want to keep it more steady.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like I guess the reason I brought it up is you probably don't want to have like one turbo per cylinder because that can fuck things up. You're going to have one pulse every other rotation or whatever, so it's not going to spool up as well as if you had them all connected up.
Yeah.
To one or two turbos, depending on how many cylinders you have.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that.
I don't know a ton about turbos, and I feel like I'm learning a lot right now. I like this.
Turbos are cool.
I mean, I know enough to be dangerous, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I just go supercharger because I like low end torque, like right off the line.
Right.
And I have reactionary car tastes, so a blower hanging out of the fucking hood is one of the sickest things I can see on a car. So
yeah, and I mean that's like the builds that I was talking about. That's like kind of what I was shooting for with all of them is low end torque with the 6-cylinder or the steam engine or electric.
If you're dailying something and actually driving it and putting miles on it, low end torque's more fun.
Yeah,
it is, but also counterpoint. Blah. Psh. That is the end of my counterpoint.
No,
it is fun.
Valid.
I mean, it is fun, like taking a twin cam motor and winding it out to 7,000 RPM. But there's not so many places and times you can do that and still be, in the speed limit and not making an absolute ass of yourself on the road.
Just do it in a residential neighborhood, like in first gear.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, that motor is screaming, but the car's going 15 miles an hour.
Oh, dude, I was doing that with my Miata back in the day, and some guy came out and yelled at me. He's like, I'm like, dude, I'm going 20 miles an hour. I'm just in first gear.
It's making a lot of noise, but it ain't going very fast, buddy.
Well, 15 miles an hour is close to top end for a Miata, isn't it?
In first gear, it is, yeah.
Yeah, and then I got one more dream build here, and that's
I gotta hop off the call here soon because I work at 5. Instead of striking, I work at 5:30 in the morning tomorrow.
Fucking worst outcome.
Yeah, worst trade-off ever.
Much like you, Brandon, I'm about to be building one of my actual dream builds. When I was a young boy, one of the first model cars I ever bought was a Shelby Cobra model car, and so I've been dreaming about those things for many years now. I'm about to own one, so nothing crazy, just the bog standard, pretty much 427 Cobra Jet with a 4-speed behind it and a lot of power in a little car. Nothing out of the box on that one. Just would always dream of having one, and now it is a reality. Asterisk in a replica version, but it'll actually run and drive, and I can drive it, so that'll be cool.
Yeah, if it were an original, it'd probably be worth too much for you to even want to risk driving.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even want to look at it. I'd be like, nope, I'm just gonna not put eyesight on it because that could harm it in some possible way. So yeah, I guess true limitless dream build, I'd have an actual original 1965 Shelby Cobra, but frankly, I don't know if there's enough money in the world to be careless enough to just drive it around.
I saw some video of someone crashing an original one at like a vintage race, and I was like, ooh, there goes like $1 million.
Yeah.
But I guess if you're racing one, you can afford to lose it.
Yeah, I guess that's fucking insane.
So I feel like we're closing up on this recording, but I feel like there was a lesson hidden in here that to some extent we all demonstrated, and that's because you're about to start on one of your dream builds. I'm currently in the process of one of my dream builds. Bryant, you're not actively pursuing it yet, but like what you described all seemed very attainable. Like, none of us are ever like probably no leftist is ever gonna have the fucking money to actually drop like even low 6 figures on a fucking on their dream car, but like we have described things that if it's what you really want, there are avenues. Because I mean, hell, I'm doing my dream car like on a budget, so I hate to be like the hard work guy, even though we just discussed that I am not only that but trying to recover from that. But like it's when you're building something for yourself, you can brag about your hard work. Don't brag about working hard for your boss, but do the damn thing. Look for the deals, man. Cruise Craigslist and Marketplace and fucking go to the junkyard and figure out what fits on what. Do all that shit, because that's the only way that I've been able to afford to do mine. Like, I've gotten astoundingly good prices on the van itself, the motor, the rear end, the transmission. Like, I'm figuring that I'm going to be about $4,500 into mine, but I'm currently under $3,000 into it. I'm just allowing a lot of room for like all the stuff that you don't think about how much it adds up. But
I think that the overarching lesson here is that if you have a dream build that you really want to make happen, and you're smart about it, and you do work hard, and you lower your expectations, you can make it happen. Just shoot lower.
I think the lowering your expectations thing is normally a joke that I'm making, but like here it's very real. Like,
yeah.
Sure, I absolutely do want 1,000 to 1,200 wheel horsepower. Will I settle for? Dude, I won't even be that upset if I'm at like 700, because that's still a very fucking respectable number. It's lower than
Absolutely.
what I want, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'm still gonna have something that will look super cool, and like I'll be very happy to drive it and take it to shows and just generally like school fucking cars that really are not expecting my van to have 700 or 800 wheel horsepower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And like I could accomplish a lot of my goals and make my dream car of some, in some, reduced expectations capacity, whatever. But I'd much rather like just have several $100,000 to throw at all these things and have someone else do it. But
what made me realize how attainable these goals were was you bringing up the steam engine thing, specifically because I know a dude who built a steam powered boat.
Yeah.
He's like, he's not a wealthy dude. Like he makes, I know what he does for a living, so I'm assuming he makes like $30,000 to $40,000 a year. But he, metal's fairly cheap if you're making the parts yourself, like he did. Like he has like a mill and a lathe, but they're very like rudimentary machines that he bought and fixed up himself because he's a tinkerer. He likes fixing stuff up and making things like whatever.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he,
I could make a shitty steam engine, but I kind of like. I'm not saying your friend's steam engine is shitty. I could make a
really
very
hard on
basic.
it. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Yeah, like you can make a basic steam engine that works pretty easily. Like people made them in like the 1700s or whatever. It's not that high tech. But like what I kind of want to do is like make the most efficient steam engine ever and have like computer controlled variable valve timing on it and stuff. And that would be a little bit more of a thing.
A weird
like I
goal,
said,
but a respectable one.
Yeah, I want to take something that's like 300-year-old technology and make it the pinnacle of that.
Push it to its illogical conclusion.
Yes,
exactly. So, yeah. Anything else before we close up here?
No, I gotta get ready for bed, and I don't know. Hopefully, I just don't wake up tomorrow.
Oh, don't say that.
Well, I'm having a lot of mental health issues in addition to like working 12-hour days and getting up at 4:30 in the morning and shit. So,
shit. Yeah. Oh, if we have room for one more quick tangent, that there's a King Gizzard song. I forget the name of it, but I was listening to the lyrics the other day. I'm like, oh, this is a song about committing suicide. Great. It's like, there's a line that's like, the lines on my arm say, tell me I'm on track and I hope I don't wake up or something like that.
Jesus.
Like,
so subtle lyrics then.
Yeah. Well, I didn't notice it at first because it's like real upbeat and happy, like the melody and everything. And then it's like, oh, fuck.
And I'm a mystery Jack. The lines on my hand tell me I'm on track to die. Oh, die. I hope I don't wake up.
I actually had the conversation this weekend about how like I realized that a lot of my friends can kind of like maybe don't understand the severity of a lot of my mental health problems because I will say very, very dark things and joke about like suicide constantly, but I do it in a very like cheerful and upbeat tone so that every horribly depressed thing I say lands as a joke, which admittedly is sort of a like habit that I have developed over the years. So like cope with it somewhat. I there's a word that I would be able to remember if I weren't hungover. But yeah, like if it's got an upbeat tone, it kind of doesn't land the same.
Yeah. There's that one song by the band Say Anything that's like real happy and upbeat, but the lyrics are all about the Holocaust.
And when our city, fast and shitty, falls to the axis, yeah, they'll search the buildings, collect gold fillings, wallets and rings. Oh yeah, but Miss Black.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Yeah.
On that, let's call it.
Okay. All right. Well, sorry to end on a downer there, but
whatever. Oh, yeah, we'll do the thing for Connor. All right, everybody, check us out on social media. We have a bunch of them. It's all Cars and Comrades. I'm bad at this, and I feel like hell. So just find us. Connor does good on the Instagram page with the memes. It's good. Check it out.
Yeah.
Cars and Comrades.
Yeah. Send us emails, carsandcomrades@gmail.com. Tell us. Well, we're not gonna do any more hungover episodes on purpose, but it might happen in the future. But
it's definitely gonna happen again.
Yeah. Tell us what to do, and we'll maybe do it. Maybe not that, but
I think
Yeah.
over half of our recordings, I've either been hungover or actively fucked up at the time.
Yeah, a couple for me as well. So, all right, I'm gonna call it then. See
Yep.
y'all later.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Hail Satan.
You can jail a revolutionary, but you can't jail a revolution.
Poverty. 500,000 Americans at any given time are sleeping out under bridges and in gutters. Is that not violence to force a human being to sleep in the fucking street while the rulers that dictate this entire system have 4 or 5 or 6 fucking houses? That's violence.
If you ain't first, you're last. You know what I'm talking about? That phrase, trademark, not to use it up for this, Ricky Bobby.
There's a joke that circulated in Russia in 1992, after the first year of the free market paradise, and it went like this. Question: what did capitalism accomplish in 1 year that communism could not do in 70 years? Answer: make communism look good.
My calculations are correct. When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
Much of what has been said about communism in this country is simply not true.
She assaulted my body. Yeah. And that's nothing but pure and simple old-fashioned communism.
The U.S. government is the largest terrorist organization on planet Earth, and they have no right to wag their finger at anybody over anything having to do with ethics, morality, or human rights. America is a human rights violation in and of itself.